Hey guys, welcome in or welcome back. It's good to have you here. So, we're diving into the air element this week, and the mind corresponds to the mind, the mental plane. And today I want to talk to you about the power of your mind and the power you have to change your mind. A lot of what we talked about perceiving everything in the physical world, thinking, overthinking. Like, let's face it, there isn't barely a moment where we are not thinking about something. We experience the world through the mental processing. So a lot of what we're doing, a lot of what we do when we want to achieve peace, it's clearing the mind in a way or coming to a different peace with it. But essentially it's like when the mind becomes imbalanced, it's what they call, it manifests in mental illness. Now, even if we've never experienced anything like that, we probably resonate with the kind of low level negativity that the mind holds. And when we start to look at why we don't feel good, why we're not achieving what we wish to achieve, why we continue maybe to loop in certain patterns or behaviors or relationship patterns, for example, when we have areas of our life where there's a gap between how things actually are and how we feel about ourselves, or how we think that they should be. So all of this imbalance, disharmony, is all down to how we think about ourselves. Like, we know, we read, we know, in the mind level, we know our thoughts create our reality. But then we just continue to think thoughts that do not set us for the optimum experience of that. So there's a disconnect there, and the disconnect for me, and a lot of it, is around how we see our position in that, whether we understand, accept that we are the operative power within. Sometimes there's an unconscious assumption somewhere in the way that we're thinking, speaking, or behaving, that something or someone is going to come in to change the situation. And a lot of times people, if they do go over the tipping point into what they call mental illness, which is really just when a mental imbalance starts to affect your day-to-day life. A lot of people live with mental imbalances, but they're very high functioning, so it doesn't affect their day-to-day life. When things start to affect your day-to-day life and you can't function, then it's like, oh, okay, this has become something to treat. But actually the state of inner, dissatisfaction, disharmony, and negativity is already something to treat. But we only seem to pay attention to things when they become at crisis point, and then a lot of the time we'll go for the medication. I've been there. There's no judgment. Sometimes it's necessary and sometimes it works for a while, but it's not a long-term fix, and we still have to come back to the point where we're like, well, who am I inside here? And what is it that I'm expecting something from the outside to do? Nobody else can change our internal state other than us. We can use tools, including medications, medicines, herbs, things that we put into and on the body to assist us, to help us balance, to regulate, to give us a break, whatever. But it's never going to replace the I am consciousness, which is the operative power, and that is you inside of yourself. No matter what situation you're in, there's always another perspective, another layer of consciousness, another way for that we can come at something, respond to something, or look at something, to work with it. And to, when you see it in a different way, it changes. Nothing's rigid. So essentially today, it's like the message is you are the dismantler of your, or the architect of your reality. If there's something that you don't like, a state of being, somewhere along the line, you've created it and it did serve you. And we may not like to accept that, but it's the truth. A past version of ourselves wanted the experience that we're having now on some level, whether it was consciously or unconsciously attracted. If we don't like something we're experiencing or a way that we feel about ourselves, we are the only ones that can change that. But it starts in the way that we think, the way that we think about ourselves, the mental framework from which we are viewing everything, including ourselves, including our possibilities. Something isn't just going to suddenly dissolve eons worth of conditioning and programming through the mind. All of the control systems that exist over humanity are operating through the mind. They set them up and now humans control themselves. Well, they do that through their thought patterns. You cannot build, as an architect, a new house on the same ground without demolishing the old, without stripping it away. The only way to dismantle, integrate, release, transcend, however you want to look at it, the old paradigm and structures, the inner patriarch that exists within the way we think, it exists within our consciousness, is to be the I am presence that observes that acknowledges it, that witnesses it, that studies it, that understands it, and alchemizes it, integrates it through love, essentially. And I don't mean love in a fluffy way. I mean the ability to witness it in neutrality, or in other words, without judgment. Key number one is stepping into that role of observer, of witness, of self, without judgment, with just curiosity. It's absolutely essential, because it's actually the frequency of curiosity that starts the dismantling. So it's the energy that we're bringing to self, which is the medicine. And it's not the way we've been taught. We've been taught to externalize. We've been taught that if we take something, it can take it away. We've been taught that it's a quick fix society. We go for convenience. We don't want to go into the feels, the pain, the darkness. We just want everything to go away and everything to be all right. We know now it's not working. It doesn't work. There isn't any way around the self. There's no way around what's in our own mind. And when we understand that we actually have a choice about how we think, the whole game changes. Yes, we have to wade through all the attachments, all the feelings that go with it, and really look at what we choose to believe about ourselves, really deep down. What do I believe about myself and my capabilities and capacity? And if it's all negative, it's all conditioning. It's all come from that identity, that sense of self, in a limited way, has all come from the inner patriarch. It's come from the limitations of what has been, from the old consciousness that literally wishes to keep us small. Its function, the old structures literally box us in and off, keep us silenced, keep us small, keep us controllable. So it's very much it's that old thing, isn't it? It's an inner journey. This is a war on consciousness. That in itself, if we think about that, there's nothing outside, it's all in here. And how we look at ourselves, our very being, the filter through which we view life and others, literally colours everything. So regardless of what we're looking at that first. What is the structure through which I view things? And knowing that the old structures are being dismantled through our gaze, through changing the way we look at it, through acknowledging it, through choosing differently. And we are the dismantler of those through self. We can't really start to be the architects of the new earth, the new self, the new life, new anything, when we're still functioning from the old, looking through the old filter, functioning, living in the old house, the old construct of judgment and those ways of being. If we're still choosing to judge, doubt, fear, and it's all towards self as well, very subtle, the way we think about ourselves. We're still choosing to come from that construct, and we don't consciously dismantle it. We don't challenge it. We don't tear it down through the power of our knowing of our true consciousness. If we don't do that for ourselves, we're forever going to be looping in the smallness, and we're not going to be able to fully anchor and ground in our dreams, what we've come here to achieve and accomplish. And deep down, you know that you've come here for more. Even if you don't know what that looks like, deep down, you know you've come here for more. And the awakening is to the power that it's our own consciousness that creates that. And really the journey is just removing everything out of the way that does not allow that. So there's power. Think about the power of air, the enormous capacity and power of this unseen force. There is power in your thoughts. There's power in how you choose to use that force. There's power in whether you choose to focus your attention. What you focus your attention on becomes true. So are you focusing it on what aspect of your mind? What voice are you listening to? Because what we refer to when we're talking about imbalance is essentially when the mind goes into its lower aspect, its shadow aspect. But, you know, within us all, and we are present within the consciousness of oneness, the higher mind as well. Your conscience, which is when you're connected to spirit, it's attached to your inner compass, the voice of God, of spirit, however you choose to, you know, however that resonates for you, within us. The beautiful divine epiphanies, inspiration, downloads, and everything that comes through the higher mind. So we've always got this presence within us, this capacity of the mind, and becoming the observer of it recognizes that the conscious mind has these habitual patterns that are not helpful to our expansion and growth. And being with that, choosing to work with that, and knowing your role within that and who you truly are, allows us to break free. It allows us to break free from the old mindset, the old dynamics, the old patterns, the self-sabotage, the smallness, the control systems. And until we break free within, there is no true freedom, really. And I know that it's always a journey. I know there's always more layers of but that's the beautiful thing, isn't it? It doesn't matter who we are or where we're at. There's always another layer of consciousness available when the mind is clear and when we're tapped into divine mind and the gatekeeper of anything that is less than divine. You're not welcome here. You're not welcome to take up space in my head. You're not welcome to live rent-free here. Because I'm creating a life that I actually love to live. I'm creating a life that feels good. I'm creating an inner world which is not suffering. And that's your role. That you can do that if you choose to believe, identify with that part of yourself that knows that that's what you've come here to do, and you've come here to create what doesn't exist yet. But that's not coming from the old programmed lower conscious overthinking worrying mind. So recognize the falsity in it. Recognize the falsity in what it tells you. If it's negative, it doesn't feel good, it's a punisher, it's a critic. It's not true. So who do you know yourself to be? You're the architect of all. I love you. Until next time. And if you're enjoying these conversations, please do like, share, subscribe. It helps me out. Drop a comment. Love to hear how you're doing anyway, if it resonates. If it resonates with one person, then that's what lights me up, and that's what it's all for as far as I'm concerned. And I'm excited this week to deepen into this feeling. What I'm going to do as well with every elemental pillar, if you like, of embodiment, the mind being just one, I'm going to give you some kind of simple but more practical maybe, or practices, tools maybe, maybe for each element, give a context, a perspective, a technique and an action, or something like that, to really start to have awareness and consciously work with these elemental forces through our bodies, through our lives, and how we can really harness the essence, the vibration, to bring deeper balance back into our own life on all levels. So I'm sending you so much love today. Thank you for being here. Until next time.